Hello everyone and welcome to part 6 of my tier list where I rank the cars that you've sent me. So if you've not seen one of these before, the way this works is I take the cars from the comments in the last video and add them in this video, and for the next video, if you put some comments in there, I'll add the cars in. Now, as I got quite a few cars in the previous video, I'm splitting this into 2 videos so they're not absurdly long and probably gonna get people to click off bit. Yes, I'll still take requests for the cars. I'll just be adding some more in the next video that were already in the comments for the previous video, if that makes sense. So yes, I'll just get on with it, shall I? Let's get started with our first car, the Koenigsegg CCX. Now, in terms of appearance, the CC Koenigsegg's are probably my favourite, but the later ones are technically better. And while my favourite is the CCXR edition, this normal CCX certainly up there. But I mean, if there was things like 1-to-1 or a Yes Go on there, I'd probably put it below them. But for now, I think. Now this is always a difficulty for me. Where do I put it? Do I put it above or below the Veyron? I'm gonna put it above the Chiron but below the Veyron. So move the Veyron above the pair of them because yes. That's the way I am. I'm just completely and utterly indecisive. I'm also going to move the Ford Bronco Raptor down a bit because I don't know, I'm not liking it so much now. That's just where it is. Next car, the Dodge Demon Roadster. Now, this was a concept car by Dodge that was designed to be a smaller, cheaper variant of the Dodge Viper, more to compete with things like the Mazda MX-5 and the Pontiac Solstice and the Saturn Sky, which were basically the same car, but yes. Unfortunately, it never made it to production because Dodge deemed the materials to make it too expensive, so they didn't really see it being worth anything, so unfortunately it didn't really make it, but it probably would have made a pretty great little sports car. I mean, yeah, I don't know, with the way the Saturn Sky turned out, maybe not. I mean, the red line at least was certainly a bit underrated, but the normal one, maybe not so much. Certainly couldn't hold a candle to the MX-5. I mean, if it was more MX-5 like, maybe even like a faster MX-5 like the Abarth 124 Spider was, it could have been a very good car. But unfortunately we can't really judge it off anything like that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it above the Plymouth Fury but below this Triumph. Yeah, I think that's a fair place to put it. Next car, the Dodge Durango Pursuit, which is Dodge's official police package for the Dodge Durango. Now, I've mentioned my distaste for SUVs before, I'm not going to rant about it again, but this one in particular suffers from a certain problem. It's completely and utterly gopping. It's a very, very ugly car. Like, they perfectly sculpted it to be as ugly as possible. They carefully chiselled out its disgusting, unpleasant features, and certainly that earns it a spot in the atrocious section, because I really, really hate the way the Durango looks. It's just a really ugly car. I think... I'm going to put it above these two, though, because this is just so unbelievably terrible, and this is just... I don't know, again, it might be the picture, but I think this actually looks worse than the Durango, this Mercedes. Anyway, next car, BMW M6. Now, the comment didn't specify which M6, so I've gone for the 2013 Coupe. Now, I like the M6 a lot, probably more than most people. Most people think it's ugly, I don't get what's up with them. But, okay, maybe not this 2013 one, I think people say it looks good, but either way. For me, the ultimate M6 would have the earlier V10 engine from the earlier ones and have the looks of this. I mean, someone might have actually built that as like they might have swapped an original V10 into this generation of it, which would be very cool to behold. I mean, if there is one, I'll put a picture of it up on screen for you all to admire. If there isn't, there will be a picture. But yes, this is my... I'm going to say this is my second or third favourite BMW. I'm going to say third, like just the M6 in general, because I think I do prefer the M1 and the 850 CSI. But this, I'm definitely going to put... Now this may be far too high for some people, but I'm going to put it above the AMG 1 because No, I'm not going to put it that high, but I'm going to put it above the Gento DHE because, again, this might be too high for some people to put an M6, but I've always liked the car. I've always thought it just looked really quite good. Even the earlier ones, which people seem to say they're ugly, I don't know. They've certainly, well, I think we can all agree that they've certainly aged better than some of BMW's newer designs. Anyway, next car, Koenigsegg Agera R. Now, in terms of its appearance, this is probably my least favourite Koenigsegg, although it's a very high bar, so it's by no means what I think is an ugly car. I still think it's a very, very good looking car. But it's a technically better car than the CCX, but I do prefer the CCX. So I think this is going to be probably the lowest a Koenigsegg is going to be, but I think I'm going to put it one step below the EV110 because I have a soft spot for the EV110 despite its rather strange appearance. Anyway, next car, the Lamborghini Aventador LP700-4. The original Aventador and the second best, because I prefer the Ultima, which was the last Aventador. But no, this is the second best Aventador, and it's probably the Aventador in its rawest, most pure form. Which, I mean, I suppose I know the SV and the SVJ are more hardcore, but this is just the original design for the Aventador and what the designers originally envisioned it to be in. That's a pretty great thing, and it's still, for a lot of people, the definitive supercar, and that's a claim to fame very few cars have. I mean, most of them are other Lamborghinis like the Countach, but where does this one go? I think I'm going to put it above the RS6 as well, but below the Koenigsegg. Maybe. Yeah, no, I'm going to put it one step below the Agera R. Yes, that's a fair place to put it. Next car, the 2012 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Now, for me, this is the ultimate incarnation of the Camaro in terms of the way they made it look, because it's still very, very muscly, but it's got that edge to it, if you know what I mean. It's like sharp, but it still looks like a blunt instrument, which is what a muscle car should be. And I certainly like the later ones, like the 1LE, but I don't know, I sort of like the Camaro more as a true muscle car than a track car. And again, this is my favourite Camaro, at least in terms of the road cars. And I think I'm going to put it above the Forester STI, but below the Lotus Elise. Exige. This is an Exige S2, because you think with how much of a nerd I am, I wouldn't get things confused, but sometimes I do, because I've got all this knowledge into my head, sometimes it all blends into other knowledge, but yes. Next car, Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. Now, something perhaps unrelated, but from this picture, I actually can sort of see where they got some inspiration for some of the Huracan's design language. I mean, that might just be me, but hey. Now, this was designed to be an ultimate track car. I mean, Sesto Elemento literally means sixth element, which is what carbon is, and it's made almost entirely of carbon fibre. Now, they actually did build a few of these, but not as many as they were intending to, probably simply because it was so expensive, although it would have been a good investment because they're selling for a lot more now on the rare occasions that they do come to market. Now, where do I put the car, though? I mean, obviously, probably up here, dream car, because it's just an absolutely monstrous car in the same vein as something like a Zonda R. I mean, obviously, I prefer the Zonda R, but still, I think I'm going to put it above the Devo, but below the Mercedes Gullwing. Yes, that's a good place to put it. Now, next car, the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. Now, this is without a doubt my second favourite car of all time. It's the best of the Holy Trinity, and it's just perfect in every single way. It's just the ultimate super GT, and yes, I don't know why everyone sort of calls it out as being the worst of the Holy Trinity, but it's just unbelievably complete, if you get what I mean, because it's more usable than the other two, but also, despite appearances, it feels more raw and more connected to the road and to the driver. And it's, when people originally reviewed it, they wished it was more McLaren than Mercedes, and I don't know what they were thinking really, because from what I've seen, or from what I've seen with people driving it, it's definitely more of a McLaren. I mean, it's a completely carbon fibre body. I mean, if you take away a lot of the leather, you'd just immediately see carbon. And just the design of it as well, and just how cleverly packaged it was. Now, it's like with my two of the best examples with the side exit exhausts. Most manufacturers just put them on the car because they look cool, but Mercedes put them on there to shorten the amount of material they need, which makes the car lighter, and also it actually improves exhaust flow, which makes the car a bit faster. And the air intake is actually that massive Mercedes badge on the front. I mean, if you show the entire air intake, it itself is a work of art, at least as far as air intakes are concerned, and that certainly earns it a spot on the top of my tier list, at least for now, because we've got something else here that I like even more, which is right here actually, the Pagani Zonda Cinque. Now, well, okay, when I said this is my second favourite car, the SLR in general is my second favourite car. The Zonda in general is my favourite car. And the Cinque, is my second favourite iteration of the Zonda. I prefer the Cinque Roadster, but I mean, it's almost irrelevant really. They're both just as good as one another. I just prefer the way the Roadster looks. And it's the ultimate Zonda. It's a track-focused hypercar with the most incredible Mercedes AMG V12. It's just, for me, the ultimate dream car, and at least until someone suggests me the Roadster, that's where it's going, at the top of the tier list. The SLR sort of had a short stay there, didn't it? I mean, a lot shorter than what the 911 GT1 did, or had. Next car, the SRT Challenger 392. Now, this was when Dodge attempted to rebrand SRT as its own brand with little success, so they went back to calling them Dodges. Now, for the Challenger itself, again, it's the very definition of a modern muscle car. If a car was a baseball bat, this would probably be it. It's just blunt, simple, effective. I mean, it looks a bit silly over here in Europe. It's like a lot bigger than it looks in pictures. I mean, that's probably because it's taken in America, where the roads and other cars are bigger. But no, it is an absolutely huge car, at least for a coupe. But I like it for that. I like it for its simplicity and its simpleness, and that's the same way. It's making me simple. What do you know? But yes, I just like it for that, and I think I'm going to put it at the top of cool. Also, I'm going to move this Bugatti Vision GT up a bit. I was unbelievably and unnecessarily cruel to it. I think I'm going to put it above the Bugatti Mistral. Anyway, next car, the 2013 SRT Charger, which again was around the same time that Dodge tried to do that. They only did it for 3 cars, the Challenger, the Charger and the Viper, all of which they later rebranded to me Dodges again. Now, this is my favourite shape of the Charger. Now, again, yes, the later Hellcat Red Eyes and things are going to be better, but for me, I just think they sort of perfected the design here. It's not too much, really. And honest, I mean, it's just a nice, appealing shape, which is unusual for an American car. Usually they're quite either in your face or just completely and utterly ugly. I mean, most manufacturers make ugly cars nowadays, but that's beside the point. I think it's going to actually go above the Challenger, and I'm going to put it in Sub-Zero, because it's my favourite Charger, except obviously the classic ones. But yes. Our next car is actually another Charger, the Charger Pursuit, which is Dodge's own police package for the Charger. Now, this I have a bit of a soft spot for, really, because this is really, I mean, aside from the Crown Vic when that was retired, but most of them were replaced by about 2020. This is the last proper saloon that the police use in the US, because mostly they just use Dodge Durangos but mostly the Ford Police Interceptor Utility, which makes it a bit sad, because I don't like SUVs, and I think a saloon is the best shape for a police car. I mean, yes, there's plenty of arguments that an SUV makes a better police car for all its various reasons, but in terms of how much I like it, I still don't like SUVs. I'd rather have a Charger police car. Now, I believe the Special Pursuit Charger is actually a 4-wheel drive with a V6 as opposed to a rear-wheel drive V8 like the SRT Chargers, which certainly makes me not like it quite so much, but as those cars. But yes, I think think I'm going to put it in interesting because I do like that it's actually its own pursuit package. And maybe it appeals to me more because you don't see them at all over here in Europe or the UK. I mean, if I was in America, I'd probably feel like less interested in them because I see them every day. But yes, I think I'm going to put it above the Unimog but below the Mark 1 Cortina. Anyway, Ford Crown Victoria, the normal civilian one, which as legendary as the police version is, this is just a fairly normal standard American saloon, albeit one with a V8 which does elevate it slightly. I think I'm going to put it above the C class but below the two E classes we have here. Just for the fact that it has a V8, although it's probably worse built than all of these cars, but yes, it is what it is. Anyway, next car, Ford Explorer. Didn't specify which one, but I've gone with the newest one. Well, the newest American one. There's an EV one that's sold in Europe, which is somehow even worse. It's just, that is an awful, horrible car. But that's not here, we're going with this one, which is also an awful, horrible car, because again, it's another copy-paste SUV, which I hate so extremely. I mean, I think I'm going to put it one step above this Jeep, because it's going to be better made than the Jeep, but that's about all the praise I'm going to give it. I don't like it, it's just so fantastically boring, and this is the thing, Ford make this, they don't even make any saloons anymore. They don't make the Focus, they don't make the Fiesta, they don't make the Taurus, they don't make the Mondeo. It's just SUV after SUV after SUV. I mean, the only true holdout really is a Mustang, because I mean they don't even make the GT anymore. It's just a bit sad, really. In fact, I do believe I'm correct in this. The Mustang is the only non-SUV or pickup Ford, one of the largest automotive companies in the world, now sell, and that just shows the sad state of the car world at the minute, really, doesn't it? I mean, even if you like SUVs, surely you've got to admit, I mean, even if you prefer them to saloons or hatchbacks or what have you, surely, the lack in variety is surely quite depressing and a bit sad to you. But, yeah, I mean, it's even worse for me because I do not like SUVs in the slightest. Here is another one, the Ford Police Interceptor Utility, which is in the same boat as the Durango. It's Ford's own version of the Explorer designed for police use. Now, it does hold the distinction of not being so horrifically ugly as this one, so it's going to earn a few places higher, probably below the Ram TRX, but still not brilliant. Anyway, what is brilliant is this, our next car, the Lamborghini Riventon. Now, this is Lamborghini's version of what it is basically, at least in my eyes, is a rebodied Murcielago made to look like an Aventador, at least a pre-designed preview for the Aventador. Lamborghini says it's inspired by fighter jets, which I can certainly see. I can certainly believe them with that, but I can also believe they were certainly testing the waters for the potential styling of the Aventador. Obviously it landed because the Aventador and the Reventon look very similar. But despite all its shortcomings of basically just being a rebodied Murcielago and being astronomically expensive for what it is, it's probably still my favourite Lamborghini, maybe second favourite, maybe I prefer the Reventon Roadster, but that's beside the point. I just think it's perfect, because the Murcielago is my favourite Lamborghini, and it's still based on that, and it's just the best version of it, except maybe the SV, but yes, certainly the best looking. I think, honestly, in all honesty, I'm going to put it above the Bugatti Chiron, which maybe a bit high for some people for what is a rebodied Murcielago, but it's my favourite Lamborghini. I mean, it's not going to go very low down, is it? It's certainly not going to go below the Aventador, because that wouldn't really make sense, and I'd just be talking nonsense at that point, wouldn't I? Which I might still very well be, but if you're still here, maybe you agree that you agree with at least some of my opinions, and if you don't, then, well, I'll still be happy to argue with you in the comments, because that's what I like doing the most, talking / arguing about cars. Anyway, next car, the Ford Shelby Mustang GT500, the 2013 one, which is one of the last versions of this Mustang that actually came out before the 2015 one. I say 2015, I think it might have been introduced at the tail end of 2014 in the US, or at the very least it was certainly revealed in 2014. But yes, this was probably the last bastion before the Mustang fully civilized itself. I mean, the Mustang civilized itself because, I mean, the next generation was actually sold in Europe with right-hand drives. So that tells, and sold fairly well. So that tells you a lot about it. There was a much more refined, much more sensible. I don't really want to use the word sensible because it's still a V8 muscle car for the most part, except for the EcoBoost versions. But it was certainly a more refined, more well-rounded car. Unlike this, which is still very American and badly built. And again, like the Challenger, it is a baseball bat of a car. But I still like it for that because it's not ashamed to be a big, loud, brash muscle car, and I like that for it. I mean, the only shade I can throw at it is being the first car to lose one of the Top Gear public transport versus car challenges, but oh well. It's no Veyron, that's for certain. But I still like the car. I think I'm going to put it in cool. I think one step above the Challenger, yes. I think I do prefer it slightly to the Challenger. Anyway, next car, the 2013 Aston Martin Vanquish, which I think looks absolutely brilliant and is probably the last of this older generation of Astons. There were more, like, before the AMG partnership. That's probably the best way to describe them. They were different. They were a bit more. They were still very British and almost muscle in a way. They still contained hints of that weird muscle car era Aston had in the 80s and 90s, but they were certainly still luxurious Grand Tourers, and they were still classy. I mean, they still are now, really. I mean, maybe they're a bit more sports car focused now, Aston Martin, but yeah, still there. I mean, they're in Formula 1 and endurance and all that with the Valkyrie and stuff, so maybe they are a bit more sports car focused now, but this to me is a proper Aston Martin. And it's the second best of those, because I do prefer it to the DB9 and the DBS, but not the 177. But the 177 is, yeah, honestly, simply with how good it looks, I'm probably going to put it in Dream Car. Probably, again, no, I'm going to put it below the RS6 because this is my favourite estate car I've made. I mean, it's an estate car with an Audi R8 engine in. What more can you say about it? But this is like just below. I could probably swap these around at any time, and I probably will swapping them around at any time in the near future. But yes, next car. Alright. This is a Toyota U-Box, and I think Toyota said it was their vision of a car for Generation Z, and if you're a Generation Z, or in Generation Z, I do apologise, because no, Toyota won't sell you a GI Yaris or a Toyota Supra or an MR2 or anything like that. They want you to be driving this, and I must apologise for the sad, sorry fate that they have subjected you to, because this is absolutely hideous. It's, if the Tesla Cybertruck was this weird van SUV thing. Now granted, it's not quite as bad as that because it still has some shape to it, there's not just all straight lines, but I absolutely hate it. It's like this weird, they're trying to be like futuristic and modern, and it's just not working. This sort of styling doesn't work for cars. I mean, everyone's doing it now, but it just doesn't work. It's really, really ugly. And I think it's at the coveted spot at the bottom of Burnett. Yes, I hate it more than a Yugo, somehow, despite this, by most accounts, being the worst car ever made, or at least it was until the Cybertruck came along. But yes, you have earned the coveted worst spot, except the Cybertruck, which that'll always stay there. But yes, on to a more positive note, we've got just good cars now. I mean, Chrome Vic, but that's I like it. Anyway. Next car, the Marussia B2. Now this holds the claim to fame of being the only true Russian supercar, because I do believe it actually worked and ran despite not actually making it. I mean, the story of Marussia is a very sad one, really. They were set up in about 2010, I think it was, yes, 2010 I think they were set up. They made a concept car called the B1, but then they went on a big push to take over the supercar world, really, and racing world, because they launched their own Formula 1 team, which wasn't very successful, but I'll get to that in a minute. They were also making the B2, which was actually a cool enough of a car that Need for Speed took notice of it and actually added it into their games, despite it being very unknown at the time. And it was showing up in various places, and it was all becoming very promising. It was delayed, but the world was convinced that they were going to make it, and it was very promising that it would come to production. But unfortunately, in the year 2014, Jules Bianchi drove for them, and if you're an F1 fan, you know where this is going. Now, he was bringing the team to actually a lot more success than it was previously having. They were starting to get more points, coming close to getting some podiums and the like, and they were getting more money, which means they could improve their development budget for both their F1 team, which would lead to more success, and for the B2 and their other road car projects. Unfortunately, tragedy struck, and at the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix, Jules Bianchi smashed right into a tractor while it was recovering another car during the appalling conditions, and his head went straight into it, and it basically rendered him completely unconscious and basically on the verge of death for a few years before, unfortunately, he tragically passed away a few years after the incident. Now, this incident caused halos to become adopted into Formula One, and unfortunately, it also caused the death of the Marussia car brand, which meant this never came to light, really, other than a few prototypes that were seen rolling around in places like Monaco and the like. I don't know where the car is now, actually, if it even still exists, but yes, that's a sad and short tale of Marussia. But for the car itself, I mean, again, there's not that much to go off, but as far as the looks of it go, I think it's quite a striking thing, and I'm always drawn to more obscure cars, especially those that we're so close to making it to the light of day into full production. And I think I'm going to put it one step below the BMW M6, because I don't know, I just really like it. Anyway, next car, the Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG Black Series, which is, for all intents and purposes, a German muscle car. Simple recipe: V8 at the front, rear-wheel drive, tyre shredding ensues. Now, most people will agree with me upon this, and whilst, yes, there are some better Black Series like the SL65 and the SLS, and I mean, well, the GT Black Series is more of a track car, and the other Black Series are more absurd tyre smoking muscle cars like this, but the GT Black Series is a different beast, so I'm not going to sort of include it in that comparison. But yes, for me, this is my third favourite Black Series. I mean, again, ignoring the GT Black Series, and it's the ultimate C-Class. I mean, it's certainly a lot better than that dreadful, miserable excuse for an AMG, the new 4-cylinder one is. It's just like, what were they thinking? You buy an AMG for a rear-wheel drive V8 monster. I mean, ignoring the supercars and the like. That's what you buy one for. Tyre smoking V8 monster, not a hybrid 4-cylinder, whatever they're made. And it's not to mention it's ugly as well. This though is none of those things, and I'm going to put it in between these two. Actually, I think. Yeah, I'm going to put it in between these two because I am a massive Mercedes fan, as you might be able to tell. But yes, next car, the Koenigsegg CCXR, not to be confused with the CCXR Edition, which is actually a different car. Now, the CCXR is probably my second favourite Koenigsegg behind the CCXR Edition, and yes, while I keep saying that later iterations of Koenigsegg's are better, I'm still putting this up in between these two Bugattis because that's where I want it. This is my tier list, and I don't listen to reason and common sense sometimes. I just go with my gut, and my gut tells me to put it there. Anyway, next car, the Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, which around the world is just the police car. I mean, certainly it helped with it appearing in every form of media ever. Even now, actually, sometimes it still shows up despite basically not being in service now. I think maybe one or two departments still use them, but even then they probably only just have one because they want to keep it for like show and to say, oh look, we've still got Crown Vic. But yes, this is like the ultimate police car for a generation. Maybe not the ultimate, rather, but the definitive, that's a more appropriate word, police car for a generation, including myself. And honestly, I think that actually earns it a spot above the Lamborghini LM002, which is, I think, the highest a police car's got so far. Anyway, last three cars. The Ferrari Enzo. Now, while obviously I keep the SLR at the top of the Holy Trinity, the Carrera GT and the Enzo I seem to keep swapping around, and at the moment, I mean, the Carrera GT is not here, but I prefer the Enzo to it. It's just a brilliant car. I mean, it has to be a brilliant car to be named after the founder of the company, and with that V12 and those looks and that speed, it certainly earns that name. And whisper it, but honestly, despite my distaste for silver cars, I think they're quite boring. I actually really like the Enzo in silver. I actually prefer it to red and yellow, which is odd because Ferraris are usually suit that. But where does it go though? I think I think I'm going to put it above the Chiron, but below the Reventon. Yeah, I'm going to put it there. Next car, the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren Sterling Moss. Now, for all those people who complained the normal SLR wasn't hardcore enough, I think this is the antidote to that. It's just an SLR Speedster, and it's named after Sterling Moss, the greatest Formula 1 driver to never win a world championship. And it's an SLR Speedster. What more can you say? It's a really, really cool concept. I mean, yes, it's hideously impractical, but that's not the point. It's a multi-million-pound hypercar. What do you expect it to be practical and usable every day? I mean, I suppose there is the Koenigsegg Gemera, but that's not out yet. But when it does come out, I expect it to be incredible because Christian von Koenigsegg can perform automotive miracles. But yes, this goes... Now, do I put it above or below the normal SLR? I think I'm going to put it below it for now because I just think the normal SLR is a more complete package. Anyway, final car, the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG, which, whilst it looks like a sophisticated Grand Tourer, it most certainly isn't. It's got a massive engine up at the front, rear-wheel drive, and this leads to tyre shredding like the C63 AMG, but perhaps even more so and more tail happiness. And it has the same gullwing doors as the 300SL gullwing, but unlike that car, because of modern safety regulations that require you to actually have to escape your car if it's upside down, Mercedes, they came up with an interesting solution to make the car safer in the event of a rollover crash, so you had to get out of your car if your car was on fire. So yeah, to make it safer in that situation, they decided to put bombs in the doors, which sounds scary, but it's a similar sort of situation to airbags. It's a tiny explosion that blows off the door hinges, so you can kick your door open, get out of your car, not burn to a crisp, which is quite useful, because burning to a crisp isn't really on anyone's to-do list. Now, what is on my to-do list, though, is to drive one of these things, because I have a very, very large soft spot for it, because, yes, it's a bit silly, but look at it. It's a brilliant looking car, and I like silly cars. I don't want sensible cars. I think I'm actually going to put it above its inspiration, the original Gullwing. And I think in between the Reventon and the Enzo is where I'm going to put it. But yes, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of my tier list. If you'd like to have some cars in the next video, just put them in the comments. I may have a small delay to catch up to because of the large amount of comments I received in the last video, or large amount of cars I received in one comment. I mean, add as many as you like, but I don't mind. But yes, hopefully you've had a great day or night or evening or wherever you're on. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.